Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and today I know yesterday we skipped a day of showcasing the Gerard Bodet, because I did want to put out the video for the children in Nova Scotia. I don't know if it'll help or if it would ever help, but whenever there's something about children, it just is important to do quickly. I also, before I get into this video, I want to mention to everyone, and particularly Polyglot 8, when I began the reading for the children, I said something like, sometimes people like to play stump the tarot reader or stump the psychic. I didn't mean it for Polyglot 8. I didn't mean it for her or him or whoever. I didn't mean it for that person. I was just saying that, sometimes I will. Sometimes I will, if it's a notable case, try to get as much information as I can, because then the information that comes through in the cards will present itself more easily than I could apply it to where, what makes sense. But sometimes when people want to have a private reading and they'll just say they're already married and they have 6 kids and they're happily married and everything, and then they ask a bogus question to stump the reader, right? And they'll say, oh, my love interest has ghosted me. Is it a forever love? Well, you're not going to get a real answer because it wasn't a real question. And sometimes that happens where people will do that, So I just wanted to preface the reading by saying that Polyglot 8 made me aware of a situation. And I think it was with the understanding that I would look into it, which is what I did. But I did want to mention that, the more information a person has, the more information I have, the better I can apply understanding to the cards. I don't know why some people just have the tendency to play games like that. I don't know. I just thought I would say that. So Polyglot 8, I wasn't meaning that for you. It was just to explain why I did a little research on the topic so that I would have a little information going in. Now, I always, usually always, if I don't, it's just because of an error. I forget or whatever. But whenever I have a new deck, and again, thank you, many thanks to Sharon from over at Trio of Witches for gifting me with the Gerard Bodet tarot deck by Tarot Sheet Revival at Sullivan, Hismans. It's beautiful. And whenever I have a new tarot deck, or I showcase a tarot deck for the first time, I usually will, I'll show the deck. Then if I have any decks that I compare it to, I do that, and I did that. I did 2. I did a comparison with the Triumph cards, and then I did a comparison of the pips with other decks, Via Veal and another Rowan Brussels style. The pips that video is embedded in the descriptive area of the Triumph comparison. This one, I want to do a read. One of the other things I'll do with the brand new deck is just to do a read and see how it reads. Now, these cards are kind of large. I'm not sure how successful my signature spread will be. I'm going to do my best to do it. I have a question in mind. I've already been to my meditative place, but I don't know if I've asked this question already or not. Things are a blur anymore. I'd like to know the circumstances by which who will be removed from office. Will it be that he'll just serve his term? Will it be health? Will it be something else? There are a few ways that might happen, and I'm curious. Now, it's food for thought. It's not predictive, but things that we might consider regarding how his reign might end. Okay, so let me flip the camera and we'll get started. Alrighty. I know yesterday with my signature spread, I did not explain how I did the final quint cards. I'll explain that today. But if you're ever watching my videos and you want to know how to do the quint or whatever, just go back to another video and so I don't have to type it all in for you, because I do describe it many times. Okay, 3 cups. I'm going to put them up as high as I can reach. 4 batons. Conflict. Almost in equal measure. Emotional and people, the population perhaps. The Fool. Oh my goodness. So the direction goes that way. Knight of Cups. King of Cups. And this is a well shuffled deck. I really, King of Coin. Wow, look at that. So this row is about power. This row is about power, okay? Let's see. The Moon card. Let me push them down just a little bit so we can see all. Page of Coin. And the 9 of Coin. Wow, okay. Everything present here but violence. I don't see any suit cards of the Suit of Swords. Batons can mean unrest. Batons can suggest, and there's only one, it's an even number. It's 4. So it doesn't really suggest too much physical instability. We have cards, numerous cards from the Suit of Coins. We have at least 3. Sometimes I miss them when I say we do or don't have cards of a certain suit. But I see at least 3. We have the Page, the King, and the 9 of Coin. Could be health. Could be health. We have emotional instability, which could be, I wonder if this will be a Amendment 25. I mean, I haven't laid the quint cards yet, but, because we have the Moon card here. I wonder if he'll be removed because of his lack of mental stability. I wonder. Let's take a look at the quint cards. For those of you who are new to my channel, this is my spread. I've developed it. If you use it, feel free. But if you use it in a public forum, please be courteous enough to give me credit for having been the one to develop it. What I do is a core 9, 3 rows of 3. Lots of people do that. I didn't invent that. What I did was incorporate the tradition of coming up with a quint card. I add up the numeric value of each row. I do not assign numeric value to court cards. I just don't. This row will be 0. Okay, so we'd have the Fool for this card. This card, it would just be by adding 18 and 9, we'd get 27. Then I subtract 22, whereby we'd get 5 for the Pope. And I do the same up there. Then I add the 3 cards that were quint cards, subtract 22 until I get a number between 1 and 21. And if there's an answer of 0 or 22, it just means the Fool. So, since the Fool card is already in play, I'm going to pull another card similar over here. Over here. It'll be from a deck that's similar. Probably the Vandenborg. Now, of course, I said the Pope, but I was mistaken. I forgot that this is a Rowan Brussels pattern. I mean, I knew it was, but I just made a mistake. So it would be quite a different message than the Pope would be. It would be like the anti-Pope, right? That completely different card. Also, this is the first time this particular situation ever happened because the Fool is already in play. I chose another Fool card from a similar deck with this, the similar pattern, the Vandenborg, also known as the Bacchus Tarot. And in this deck it was 0, and in this deck it was 22. So, but the magic of numbers is that whether I add it up as 0 or 22, the the final card for the spread is the same. It's number 12. So that's the magic of numbers. It's a very cool thing. That's why I like to do that the way I like to do it that way, because it's just consistent and it's very, very cool. Okay, so the final outcome for the whole question. Now, truth be told, it should probably be turned, this way is the correct way. It's the person who's being humiliated, disgraced, being held accountable for transgressions. In the particular deck, it was printed this way. I maintain that it was printed this way in error. I don't give it a different meaning because it comes this way, because it's this way up, right? I laid it that way because that's how it came to me in the deck, but I really perceive it as inverted. So what do you make of that, right? It looks like maybe not. I don't see the D card, the number 13 card. I don't see that. And as I mentioned earlier in the read, I don't see cards of violence or anything like that. Doesn't mean it won't happen. It's just food for thought. It just seems like maybe the best way to move forward with this, the best possible outcome, which is what we want, would be for him to be removed lawfully and not through any violence, That doesn't mean that's not how it will play out. It just means, I always ask for the best possible outcome, food for thought. The best possible outcome in this situation would be for him, I think, to be held accountable for his lunacy. Which, we have, the Fool card could mean a few things. It could mean opportunity. It could mean going in a new direction. It could mean you have nothing to lose. Or in the context of this question, it could mean somebody who is lost his marbles, and, and we have the suits of coin, which is health, well-being. We have emotional cards, which means emotional health and well-being in the context of this question. And then we have a card that most certainly could reference lunacy, which is what we have going on here. So, without getting into like what each and every single card might mean in the context of this spread, I think I've seen enough and I've understood enough that his subordinates or his people have got to get together and see him as mentally unfit and needs to be removed. And that needs to be the thrust. He needs to be held accountable. He definitely needs to be held accountable. He's already been disgraced. How his family cannot feel the disgrace, I don't understand. If that was my father, I would be I'd have to move to another country and change my name and live in a hut someplace, because I would not be able to tolerate an association with him. So I don't understand how they're not disgraced, but it will end in disgrace, whether they see it or not, or he'll never know, because he's nuts. He's out of his mind. He's not in his right mind, so he'll never see it. I don't mean to make fun of people who lose their mind. I'm probably losing mine, and I know my grandmother, did too. But she was just a little harmless little old lady who lived in the house in South Philly. She didn't bother anybody. This guy has way too much power to be to be unstable. Let's say that, just like that. These cards suggest, this I think is him. He definitely being portrayed, but I think these cards, these other court cards, represent people in his court, I think they're probably already talking about it. The one card that kind of interests me is the Chariot up here as one of the quints for this particular row. I'm wondering if this row might not represent the catalyst, the thing that makes it clear that is the course of action. I'm wondering if, and I don't know if it has to do with a car, it could even reference his Tesla association, right? Maybe there would be something that happens regarding that becomes the catalyst for identifying him as unstable, right? These 3 cards, these 2 I mentioned when I laid them, like the 3 and the 3 cups and the 4 batons, water and fire could be some, almost an equal measure of instability. Then we have the instability of the Fool, and then this. We may never see, if there's something that happens that goes down between them, we may never know it, because money can buy a lot of secrecy, right? Money can buy secrecy, but I'm thinking that maybe this row describes the catalyst for perhaps his regime or his minions, turning against him. Certainly if this was the Pope card, it wouldn't be minions like the devil, but then it kind of like, and it's funny because instead of being the Pope card where we would see his acolytes, we have like the anti-Pope here. That's very interesting, isn't it? I just love tarot. Anyway, until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be brave. Food for thought.